And here you have it. One of my clients was able to access over $50,000 to start and scale their investing business. In this video, I'm going to show you how we took a short-term rental investor from struggling all the way to scaling due to lack of capital, and how they were able to access over $50,000 in fresh business capital from the banks. And you can follow this exact same playbook step by step. So what I want you to do right now is go grab your pen and paper, and without further ado, let's dive in. All right, ladies and gents, business owners, whoever's really watching this, I just want to give you the breakdown and the play-by-play of how we actively got this client from struggling all the way to starting out with $50,000 in capital. Now, I just want to give you a quick disclaimer right here, way in the beginning. This can definitely happen for you, but everybody's credit report and credit scores and however you're actually applying always varies, okay? Just because you follow the exact blueprint step by step all the way 100 through, I can't guarantee that you're going to get $50,000, because there were certain things that we actually implemented, which I'm going to tell you in the video of how we did it. And if you're not actually doing this with the same person, same branch, everything, then you might not get it. You might not get 50K. You might get 40K. You might get 42K. You might get 30K. But I just wanted to let you know that right now. But if you follow these steps, you could possibly get the same exact high approvals as my client did, right? But let's just keep going. Now, to just start with the story, because chances are you are going to see yourself kind of in this. When it came to my client, again, they were in the short-term rental space. He already had like 1 or 2 units, if I'm not mistaken, because he really was just starting out. Monthly money was coming in. The business was real, of course, but every time he got profit, he would put it right back in the business, which you're supposed to do. I'm not saying you're not supposed to do that. That's what you're supposed to do. When it came to new furniture, cleaning expenses, cleaning crews, security deposits, fixing little issues in the properties, and all was basically coming out of the cash flow. A lot of business owners do that. You're supposed to do that. But there are other ways on how you can kind of soften the blow with that. And on paper, everything did look good, but in reality, he was slowly draining himself trying to scale with just profits and personal money alone. And that's the amount that he was telling me, because he was saying that, with that amount of money, he could pick up more units, improve the quality of the listings, and then move faster in the competition. Because instead of using business capital, he kept just trying to fund everything out of pocket and was basically running out of funds when the funds was just coming in. As soon as it came in, it was going right back out. And that's when he came to us again, and our goal was basically simple. So I knew that we had a lot of work to do. So the first thing that we did was work on, again, the business entity, because his credit scores, credit profile was pretty much in a really good spot. He didn't have any negatives, no charge-offs, anything like that. And that's what a lot of you don't need to have. He had a 716 across the board. So that was good. So we had to work on the business entity structuring. And again, it's no knock to anybody. Just a lot of people get stuck here because they think that they need to start out with big, fancy corporations just to look impressive because of the misinformation online or something like that. They think, oh, if I get an S corporation, a C corporation, banks will automatically lend me money because I sound way more important on paper. No, it doesn't work like that. That sounds good, but that's not how banks actively think. Banks mostly care about whether your business is real. They can care less about the corporation, okay? Whether you're in good standing with the state, and whether your personal credit and income looks solid. That's the baseline of what they really care about. Now, as to C corporation, we're talking about for tax purposes, but that's for a way another video and in a way another topic, but let's just stay on topic at hand. They also care about whether your business is reasonable as far as the level of risk as well. So you got to also keep that in the back of your mind. So I want you to hear this clearly. You do not have to start with an S or C corporation to look fancy, okay? That alone does not unlock maximum amount of capital for you. I'm telling you right now, especially if it doesn't even make sense business-wise. So you can definitely start with your LLC. You can start right there and you can still get maximum funding, okay? Especially $30,000 or $50,000. And for most people starting out, growing small businesses, including real estate or short-term rentals, is pretty much a simple LLC, and that's basically how it works. Again, an LLC is still a business entity structure, so it matters about whether the LLC is set up correctly. And is it in good standing? And does everything make sense? Does everything match? So your paperwork, your tax ID, and also your bank account and address, your online presence as well. And all of that tells the story of what is going on. So of course, he had an LLC, so we kept the structure just the way it was, just with that alone. Many business owners pick up names that sound cool to them, but those names can make lenders very, very nervous. If your name screams real estate investor, high risk trucking, crypto, adult entertainment, cannabis, anything like that, or anything close to that, certain banks and automatic systems might take a closer look to you. And that's pretty much what you don't want. You don't want them to take that magnifying glass and start looking a little closer. Because my client's original company name had the word estate in it, and it leaned pretty hard into real estate, rightfully so, of course. But again, it wasn't illegal, but it was very loud of what he was doing, and the industry could also look at you as risky, and that's what they were doing, because you want to make sure that you make smart moves. So we went back to the Secretary of State, changed the name to something a little more neutral and professional, but it still kind of leans in that real estate area. So you kind of want to think about it as, for example, ABC Holdings Group, LLC, or, Main Street Ventures, LLC. Don't put the Main Street. That's still kind of close to it. But, like just Holdings, Enterprise, something like that. Of course, I'm not going to give you his real name of his business, but I just want you to pretty much just get an idea for yourself if you're in this same boat. Now, we filed the amendment with the Secretary of State, which you usually do online, and it was a small fee. It was a simple form, and then the LLC name was updated. Once we did that, the business was no longer looked at as an aggressive real estate investor. Once the entity and the name were set, we move into the next place or the next phase, which is the digital footprint. This is where business owners also fall short. Banks and lenders do not just look at the credit scores alone, okay? They actually look up your business to see if it's real. They want to see if your business actually exists in this real world, especially online. So that's something that he didn't have. So we had to make sure that the company was Googleable. Googleable? Is that a word? I don't know. Googleable. That's what we're just gonna go with. So we had to make sure it was Googleable in the right way. First, we made sure that the website clearly showed the legal LLC name, not just the blend nickname or DBA or anything like that. And on the website, we made sure it was clearly about who you are, what you do, and how can we contact you, because lenders actually like that. They feel a lot better when they see simple, professional, sites tied with real business names. Okay, so just to throw that in there. The next thing that we did clean up the business address, the address on file for the Secretary of State, and the address used for the EIN, the address used for the bank accounts, the address on the website, all needed to match. So we made sure that all of that was the same exact thing. Uniform is what you want. We made sure he didn't have a P.O. box number. So if you have a P.O. box number, you're going to have to change that. Some banks will let you get away with it, some won't, okay? But the address did look like a real place. It looked like a real business that operated and received mail. We also made sure that he had the business phone number already set up. This could be a VoIP line. It could be the A2P number, anything like that. And when someone calls, it actually sounds like a business and not just a personal cell greeting saying, yo, what's up? Who is this? Blah, blah, blah. All right. So you want to make sure you look good on paper, because sometimes they will look at that. Because again, I'm going to reiterate this. It's all about matching information across the boards with no real red flags. On top of that, we made sure that he could be found on Google. Okay. So that means when someone types in the business name, you'll usually find it. Okay. You find the website, you find the address, you find the phone number, all of this stuff. And maybe even basic Google profiles can even search up your name. So you want to make sure all of this looks uniform. I know this might sound like a lot, might sound like it's super expensive. I promise it's not. You can do everything for under $500, $400, but you need this, especially if you want to access $50,000, $100,000, or however much that you're looking for. Especially if you work somebody that's credible, they're going to tell you to do the same exact thing. Now, once the entity structuring was good, the business name was all good, the credit profile was already in tip-top shape before I even touched it. The digital footprint was there. Now it was time to go into the banking phase. So I was going to create a sequence for them, but they told me, hey, I already have kind of a relationship with Citizens Bank. I haven't done anything with them. Could you possibly do that? I said, of course we can. So that's when we went to Citizens Bank. Now, the first thing with this bank is simple. Since he already did, I'm just telling you, make sure that you open the business checking and savings account under that updated LLC. So if he was just starting out, he would have just already did that. Only thing we had to do was just change the name on the LLC. We used the correct legal name and EIN. Everything else just had to match and was already structured, so we were good to go with there. Of course, with the Secretary of State, the website, you name it. Now, let's just say that you just opened that business account. I don't want you to immediately run and try to ask for $50,000. You still have to do some type of fractional reserve banking. You still have to build those data points and build that relationship with Citizens Bank before anything, okay? So instead, what I want you to do, again, is deposit money into that account over the next 30 to 120 days. You want to make sure that they feel like you're going to be a long-term client with them. even if you're not. Okay, so you want money flowing through that account. You want business income to come in. Try to use the business debit card if you want, to pay certain things, just to continue to show them like, hey, I'm actively using this, et cetera, et cetera. Never let your account hit zero. We always want to let the account show that it's real and we're always profitable. Okay. Next, you want to make sure the operating business with consistent activity. Now, I know you're probably thinking, why in the world is this so important? It's very important because when banks review your funding, they look at your bank statements, okay? That's what they're going to look at as well. You don't want to get denied just because of that. They want to see if real money and actual money is coming in. Doesn't matter how much it is. I do think it should be over at least $5,000, $6,000, but just want to make sure actual money's coming in, and is your cash and business actually sustainable and responsible. So this is why I'm telling you, you want to make sure that you are doing everything you need to make sure you get high limits with them or any other bank. Now with him, I was able to put him up under my relationship manager with Citizens. So we did get everything in place with them. I did let them know that, hey, this is my client. We're trying to get him, as much capital as we can. What can we actively do with them? So they said, sure, Everett, we could definitely do that. We had everything in place. I think we applied within the first 5-7 days. And once I added my 2 cents, that's when it got a little easier, because that's when he got the approval of $50,000. All right. And then that card is 0% interest for 12 months. So that means while he's investing, there's going to be no crazy interest going into this. Okay. And then we did try to put some type of plan of action together, to move forward with everything, to make everything a little easier. But getting $50,000 is well more than the amount that he was looking for. Because again, in the beginning, I said he was looking for $30,000. So I overexceeded that to help him. So now he has that 30 plus a $20,000 cushion. And I'm saying before, you can do the same exact thing if you follow these steps. Now, if you do everything that I stated in this video, you will get super high limits as well. If you make sure your business entity structuring is correct, if you make sure that your credit report is where it needs to be, and your name is not screaming red flags or triggering anything that's going to get them to deny you, I promise you, you are going to get the approvals you're looking for. The only thing that you're missing is the connections to all these banks and lenders. And that's what I can actively help you with. So if you want something similar to $50,000 or more in capital to start or scale your business, whether you're in real estate, trucking, chiropractic, anything like that, then what I want you to do is click the link below to sign up for a capital consultation with us. We're going to help you specifically with your business, not just some generic thing, to make sure we actually build up the sequences and we get you corrected for the approvals you're looking for. So again, what I want you to do is click the link below to sign up for a capital consultation with us. I want to thank you guys for stopping by. I really hope that this helps one of you guys, or really just kind of point you in the right direction of how to get, funding from Citizens Bank or any other bank in your backyard, so you can start and scale your business the same exact way. Again, I want to thank you guys for stopping by, and until next time, ladies and gents.